everybody, and welcome to the channel. Well, I hope you guys are doing well today. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, and for those of us with Lyme and other illnesses, I know that lamp is really bright, right, kind of like right there, so I'm going to try and sit in front of it. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about having Lyme. There's so many different aspects to it that I wanted to cover, and I know that a lot of us are suffering in silence. We do. We have an invisible illness, and there are so many different invisible illnesses, and I think part of the struggle comes from that very fact, is that it's invisible. And so when people see you or talk to you or you're interacting, they just can't imagine, they just cannot imagine that they can't imagine anything is really wrong with you, and that possibly it's all in your head. And so they don't know the struggle. They don't know the struggle. And I think a lot of times they don't know how to be around you, or they expect that person that you once were to come out. And then there's also a level of, because you have an invisible illness, there's a level of expectation from you. They just expect a relationship. I guess that's reciprocity. And what I really learned, and this is 10 years into it. The anniversary date was August 2nd. I am really truly not able to give or be. I'm not able to be the person that I was. I guess act or behave like the person that I was. I'm not the person that I was. And frankly, the person that I was, now it's really a relief in a way, because it really put me in tune with my body and my needs, and it taught me that I have limits. And I look back now at all the I look back now at all the times that I put myself in unhealthy situations, that I acted in ways or behaved in ways that were really unhealthy for me, and went along with the group or the crowd to be accepted. Or there's just, I think in life we all kind of go through that. We all really want that acceptance and that validation, and to fit in with society, and to perform. And the person I am now, sometimes it really does show. For the most part, mainly my husband, probably, in my immediate family. I don't like other people to see me a certain way. I'm coming on the channel today to show you. I don't have any makeup on. I normally wear a hat, and I do try to fix myself up because I'm a girly girl. I'm a tom girl, a glam tomboy, if there's such a thing. I love bling. I get most of my bling at gun shows when I can go, because I love the bling at gun shows, and it's really fun. So when events come up, like social events come up, I go through a lot of anxiety, because I know that I cannot do what 99% of people, can still do. And that's like long-term visiting and talking, due to it's been going on a long time. I was able to push through it, sometimes pharmaceutically, I mentioned that I propped myself up pharmaceutically uh, for a job. And I'll never forget, this is really embarrassing, but I'm going to share it because I'm pretty sure anybody out there with Lyme or chronic illness has been in those shoes. You want so badly to function and be, normal, that you'll kind of like do just about anything. And I don't mean just anything, but I mean there's just that, for me, I guess I've always been, I was always so independent and self-sufficient that I could not believe anything could take me down, and that's invincibility, and that's not accepting the fact that I'm human and that I'm susceptible to the same type of setbacks and gifts and blessings. And yes, I'm one of those that does embrace my illness. I didn't always do it, and I hear a lot of people say that they're tired of hearing about people embracing their illnesses. I hear it on YouTube that you shouldn't, but that's, to me, that's the equivalency of telling somebody to lay down their cross, and that's like something that I'm never going to do, is lay my cross down. I believe it's not just a gift, it's a calling, and it's a trial, it's a tribulation. And for me, my personal beliefs are, when you are saved, truly saved, that you can expect trouble, you can expect tribulation. So I remember one day at work, and I won't say where, I could feel something going on with my heart, and I was having a very difficult time performing at this job. I'm sorry, it was a very high demand job. Hang on a second. I'm having a sip of tea. It's kind of like a green tea, and it's a treat, so I'm having a sip of tea. So as my job progressed, they started working me extra hard for the same pay, and my responsibilities quadrupled. I was on my feet all day, and I was really in the throes of multiple health issues. Multiple competing health issues. And I was on a protocol. It's a protocol that's in a lot of the Lyme books. And it wasn't working out for me in terms of being able to sustain it. And one day I was in the office, and I can remember being so run down and so exhausted, feeling like I was going to die, and being in tears that I was not going to make it. And I reached into my purse for one of my medications, and I had a pill bottle that I put all my medications pretty much in, like what I needed for that day. And some of it was, like antibiotic, anti-inflammatory, something for seizure, like tonic-clonic seizures, or muscle spasm. I had uncontrollable muscle movements, which were not from the medicine. That came from the infection, the central nervous, the neuroborealis. So I reached into my purse, and I thank God nobody was in there. And I opened up that pill bottle, and to tell you, I dropped it, and these pills, they just scattered everywhere, all over the floor. And I panicked. And I remember feeling this like really bad sense of dread, like, oh my gosh, what if somebody walks in? What if somebody finds out that, I'm on all this medication, but I can justify it. I could totally justify it. But as quickly as I could, I remember it making such an impact on me, because if anybody walked in that room and saw that, I know they would have gone to the CEO and said, this girl, man, she's on a lot of medication. And so I got all my pills, and I put them back in the bottle, and I thought, okay, I'm on limited time here. I could feel my heart giving out. I could feel major things happening that I was pretty sure I was going to die. I felt like I was going to die. And I was in severe, severe physical pain. I didn't look good. And my diet was bad in a way. I was, drinking a lot of diet drinks. And you know how it is when you're working and you've got a really stressful job and the vending machine's right there, and you just I was checked out. I was checked out because I really wanted to work. It was all my will in many ways. I really wanted to perform, because that's the kind of family I came from, was that you overachieved, you made money, you had retirement, all these kind of things. And I was in denial. I was in major denial. So at the end of that day, and there was a lot of people, there was about 2 or 3 people there that didn't like me. Well, actually, there was a guy and a girl. This one girl, she was really a troll. She was a very demonic type person. And she just locked onto me, and she worked there. And she just made my life a living hell at that job. And I could not do anything to get on her good side. And she started trolling me on our internet there, and then ratting me out to the boss for things that I didn't do, and criticizing the way that I did do things. And finally I went to the boss and I said to the CEO, and I said, I don't know what's going on, but I'm doing the best job I can, and I don't understand why she's on my case. And this girl came in one time to work, and I could smell alcohol. She left for lunch and came back, and I could smell alcohol on her breath. And there were a lot of things I could have called her out on, and she was mean. I tried to share a little bit about what I was going through, and she broadcasted it to a whole bunch of people. And then I caught her talking bad about me when I'd walk down the hallway. I could hear her just totally backbiting, and just what do you call that when you just not persecute someone, but you're just really slandering them. And by the end of that day, I remember being back in my office, and I was in tears. It was the end of the day. I was pretty sure everybody had left, and I was just crying. I started crying. I couldn't control it. And then once I kind of got it together, this woman came up from behind me. She was a cleaning lady. She was a janitor, cleaning lady. And I could just feel her wrap her arms around me. And she said, Mija, I don't really think this job, you need to be here anymore. She said, in fact, I think you should quit. She said, these people here, she told me that the people there were, in her opinion, they were really demonic. And she could tell that I wasn't. And she said she could tell how tired I was every day. And she said people were talking bad about me. And she said that she could tell that job was killing me, and that I needed to quit. She said, if I were you, I would quit. She said, I'd get out of here. This place isn't worth it. And I later found out that it had been built on an Indian burial ground. And I had a really weird experience there. Not just me, but me and several other people did. And I found out that someone had been murdered, actually, in that building. And before I found that out, I had seen a horrible disfigured face in the window to one of the doors, looking through the window, the glass paneling, into a room. And it wasn't just me, it was another person. We both saw it, and we both were just absolutely horrified. I said, is that someone in a mask? And the other girl started crying, and I looked out in the hallway, and I didn't see anybody, and there was nobody around. And after that had happened, actually, I told the cleaning lady that had been there, I told her what I saw, and then she told me what had happened. And that was another reason she said I needed to go. and people at that place were just, they were dropping like flies of cancer. And anyway, so, you know, just the image of those pills scattering everywhere, I could feel my heart just doing something really weird. And so anyway, it was just a really bad scene. I know I'm a little bit all over the place, but anyway, if you're cleaning or doing the dishes, or you're trying to sleep, or you're just lonely, if you want to still keep listening, that's fine. If you want to turn it off, that's okay too. So it finally took me going into a major cardiac event. Luckily, I was at home, and I could get to the hospital in time, and that was the end of that job. I knew, because I had to have a procedure done, and I was pale. I could hardly walk across the room. And I knew when I went back to talk to one of the bosses, I felt bad that I hadn't been upfront about my illness, but you know what? I really thought I could beat it. I really thought if I just worked and I just went on like, you know, normal daily life, here's a protocol to follow, it'll prop you up, and you can just push yourself through it. Push yourself through it. And that mentality does not work for everybody. That mentality is really counterintuitive, and that is what, as a person suffering from Lyme or just living with Lyme for all these years, I keep running into that mentality from people, and it causes me. And I know it's not just me. If you're watching this and you're dealing with Lyme or any other illness, you know, all are welcome here. Truly, all are welcome here. You could have fibromyalgia, depression, arthritis. I mean, any illness you have, you are welcome here. But I don't know. What I've noticed is that when you've been well, you know, if you've been well and around a group of people, say, for a while, that have known you one way, and then after it, and especially at first, I was met with a lot of like frustration and anger and put off, and like, what's wrong with you? And you know, these were supposedly friends, and I just felt like I had no idea. I felt like it was insensitive of them, and I could really start to see the people in my life that were going to be empathetic and would not expect anything from me that I couldn't handle, that I couldn't do, and the people that were going to reject me and persecute me for it. And that's been difficult, but at this juncture and point in time in my life, I'm not invested in those people anymore. I still pray for them, and I still love them, and I'm going to hug them when I see them. But especially with what's going on with me now, the time will be very limited, and I no longer make any plans or commit to anything unless I don't make any long-term plans, period, anymore. That's futile. Unless it's just going to be with my husband and, you know, immediate family, my family. But even on my side of the family, you know, I had a parent that, you know, he cared, my dad, you know, he cared about me, and I love him, God bless him, he's in heaven. I really miss him, and I always cry when I talk about him. But when I told him that I had seizures, I had a really bad grand mal that threw my neck out, and he was really embarrassed of me. He got angry at me and was embarrassed of me. Like I was you know, I'll just never forget it. My husband was in the car with me when I told him. And so, you know, Lyme just hijacks your system. It just really hijacks your system. And it makes it, it takes a toll. It takes a toll on every aspect of your life. The friends and family that have such high expectations for you, or have all these expectations from you, and you can't deliver, it changes everything. It just changes everything. It changes the dynamics of your relationship. And, at this point in time, I know better than, I know what I can do and what I can't do. And, when it comes to other people, and it comes to jobs, and it comes to trying to live in the world that you once lived in, it's really, I see where people supposedly get healed, and, they've got it under control and all of that, but I know that I know how it works. So getting a reprieve from it, I don't believe that I'm ever truly going to get a reprieve. I don't. But I do it day to day. I really take everything day by day. I don't beat up on myself about it. I know I don't measure up to some people anymore, and they don't understand me. And they think I'm just going to come out of it, or that I'm a hypochondriac, or, I'm just not worth the time or the effort, and they don't know how to talk to me. And I guess if I were to give advice to someone who has a family member struggling with Lyme, or a friend, you really have to let them go in a certain capacity, in terms of what they can do anymore. I think you have to really cut them a tremendous amount of slack. Forgive them for getting sick. Forgive them for not being able to do the things they could do before. And accept the new person that they are, which is someone on a battlefield, which is someone on a different journey, and it's someone that is really in the swells of an ocean, and gets, we get into the doldrums, and then we get into the trade winds. And when we're in those trade winds, well, yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, I can get this done, I can get that done. And then you start measuring your life that way. And you have to be careful with that, because that's not how God measures us. And that is one of the hardest constructs, mental constructs, to get out of, is how to measure yourself. And as a Christian, I know God measures us by our fruits, judges us by our fruits. And, a lot of different Christians who are preachers and pastors, and, I have to really be careful, because there's a lot of guilt and shame and threats kind of made by them. Like, a lot of emphasis on going to hell, and not truly being saved. I believe once saved, always saved. And the reason I believe that, for one thing, is because Jesus does not go back on his word. And that contract is a powerful spiritual contract. And when you make it, you make it. And because Jesus is who he is, and because he died on the cross and rose again, his contracts with us, his transactions with us, they're eternal. There's no longer, you're no longer a Christian, you're no longer welcome here. So, be careful who when you're listening to people. He also said to follow no man. So, we are not to follow man. And I hear a